What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets Up Podcast. Episode number 177. Got a couple interviews for you guys today, as you heard from the last episode. David Peterson, Tylor Megill talking with us at spring training about what they've been going on in their life, how things have been. You get to know a little bit more about the players. And James gets to talk some real baseball with David Peterson in this one.
Yeah, David Peterson was fun. We even talked a little bit after the show off camera. Just amazing to see a guy who we've seen develop so much actually talk about pitching, and you can really just feel his level of competitiveness, his knowledge, his desire to be great, just how grounded he is, and just really cool to talk pitching with him. He's a fascinating story too. Grew up in Colorado, first round pick, Oregon Ducks. There's a lot that went into making David Peterson the pitcher he is right now, and a lot that's made him develop the last few years. And it's gonna be cool to share that with you guys.
And I will say, I feel like I just haven't heard a lot about David Peterson, from him.
But yeah, no one's really ever talked about David Peterson. Some of the fantasy baseball folks are finally starting to get on him, starting to realize that he was missing tons of bats last year. The fastball slider is legit. The curveball's coming on. So cool to hear the inside of it.
Definitely. And we're happy that we get to be the guys who give you that insight. So here is David Peterson. Hope you guys enjoy. What's up, Mets fans? Back here at spring training for another interview with another Mets player. Super excited. David Peterson, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So first off, how's it feel to be back with the boys, practicing, getting ready for games at spring training?
Yeah, it feels good. It's always fun to kind of get back and be around the guys and see everybody. And yeah, now we're about to start games, so it's getting exciting.
Start off pretty general here. What are some of your expectations for the team this season after such a big offseason?
Yeah, I think it's definitely want to get the new guys kind of acclimated with everybody and get everyone on the same page. And then, when the season starts, get down to business and play our game and see where it goes.
Personally, is there anything you're trying to accomplish yourself this year?
Yeah, I think I just being able to help the team win however I can. Obviously play as well as I can and be a valuable option for this team.
Of course. Is there anything you're working on particularly this spring that could be different, an adjustment, just something of that nature?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things mechanically, just cleaning some stuff up and making sure that all of my pitches are where I want them to be and being able to use my body as efficient as possible with the way that I'm moving.
We saw that from your summer of 8th grade to high school freshman year, you gained 10 inches. Is that true, first off?
Yeah, it was during my 8th grade year. I grew 10 inches.
What was that like for your game? With everything, you got to feel like a new person.
And your closet.
Yeah. No, I did. It was there were some tough days there with growing pains and stuff like that. And yeah, I did. I mean, definitely felt different after the giant growth spurt, and I think it took a little while for me to kind of get used to kind of the new way that things were, and I'd say it took me a little while to kind of grow into my body.
Are there any added challenges with being such a tall pitcher in terms of repeating mechanics and staying consistent?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a component of with more length, there's more moving parts, and I think that's one thing that you're constantly trying to work on is keeping things in the right spot and keeping things tight to work as efficiently as possible.
Last year we saw you the slider was absolutely disgusting. Was there any adjustment that you feel like you personally made to, improve upon that slider?
Yeah, I think that's always been a pitch for me that I could kind of lean on, especially as an out pitch. And I think it's just some of the work that we did, we didn't really do anything crazy, but just continuing to refine it and try and make it the best version that I can. And I think I was able to see some good results with it. And it was definitely last year in a place that I wanted it to be at.
We've read from some other pitchers in the past who grew up in Colorado, specifically Kevin Gausman and Marco Gonzalez, that it's a little bit difficult to develop a breaking ball in your youth just because of the air density in Colorado. And we see that when you guys go to Coors all the time. Did you experience any of that growing up, and did that have anything to do with your repertoire, earlier life, high school, college style?
I would say early on, not really. I don't think it was really something that I was focused on. It was more of, I think, when I got into professional baseball and I was spending my off seasons there. And in the summer, I don't think you see as much of a drastic difference, but it definitely, when I start to throw breaking stuff in the off season, sometimes you get a little frustrated because it's not doing what you want it to, or you're not seeing the results. But it's always fun after throwing there and then coming down to Florida and it starts moving like crazy. So it's good.
We got the pitch clock this year. How are you feeling about that?
Well, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Personally, as a guy that likes to work faster, I don't think it's necessarily going to affect me in terms of rushing me much. And then I was able to work with it a little bit last year in Syracuse, and so got to try it out a little bit, so it's not going to be completely foreign to me. But yeah, I mean, we'll definitely see how it goes and how guys adjust to it.
You made kind of a change to your pitch mix last year, throwing much more four-seamers than sinkers compared to 2021. What was the reason for that?
Yeah, I think the four-seam has always been something that's kind of been a work in progress for me. I started throwing it a lot more in college, up in the zone to get hitters to chase. And then as I've come through pro ball and especially in the big leagues, really trying to make that a fastball that I can use at any time. And last year it worked out that in a lot of matchups, that was the better fastball against hitters. And the four-seam is a lot easier to establish inside, to righties especially. And so I think that's kind of the main component of it, is the importance of pitching inside and making sure hitters know that you'll go in there, and then having the two-seam still that moves away from righties and sinks into lefties. So yeah, I think it only makes my sinker better. But I think that the four-seam itself is a valuable asset for me, especially playing along with the slider.
What's it like to be on a pitching staff with Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, future Hall of Famers?
It's cool. I mean, there's a lot of knowledge in the room, and so it's been fun. Last year was a lot of fun to work with Max and really pick his brain and kind of see how he worked and what's made him the guy that he is. And I'm looking forward to kind of doing the same with Justin, is getting to know him more as we get along, and yeah, kind of seeing what I can take from him and just continue to learn.
On a similar note, how's it been working with Jeremy Hefner for the last few years?
It's been awesome. Hef and I work well together, and he's really good at communicating with us, whether you're data-driven and you want all that stuff, or you're more of a guy like myself where a lot of it's based off of feel, and he's got such a good insight as to how the data plays with what I'm feeling, and it's been really good. And it's been fun to watch him kind of grow into that position. You know, he came in as a coach so close to when he got done playing, and I think it's only been more fun to see him just grow in that position and really thrive.
Last year you were making starts, you're coming out of the bullpen. What would you say the biggest change in your preparation is when you have to, change your role a little bit?
I think a lot of it is the throwing component. You know, when you're on a 5-day rotation, you've got your 4 days that are scripted out, and you do the same thing over and over again. And I think when you're relieving, depending on how often you're throwing and how much you're being used, that kind of dictates your throwing. So the daily throwing stuff, and then just always being ready when you're out of the bullpen.
Pull it back away from baseball for a little bit. What do you like to do when you're not playing?
Love to play golf. I try and play golf as much as I can. It's kind of, for me, one thing that is a competitive thing that's different than baseball, but at the same time, there's a lot of things for me that with golf go along with baseball, and so there's some stuff, especially on the mental side of the game, that I can kind of work on and refine while not always thinking in a baseball sense of things.
A good way to manage frustrations.
Yeah, that's true.
If you weren't playing baseball, what would you be doing?
I'd love to say playing golf, but I don't think I'm that good yet. I don't know. This is always the thing that I've wanted to do, and ever since I was young, playing baseball and being a major leaguer was the dream. And so,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's not really been my focus in terms of what else would I be doing. I'm enjoying what I do for a living, and it's been a lot of fun.
It's kind of like SpongeBob with fine dining and breathing. It's like there's nothing else.
Exactly.
There's no other option. You became a dad in the middle of last season.
I did.
How's it been adjusting? First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
How's it been adjusting to fatherhood while being a major leaguer?
It was good. That's something for me outside of sports that was always a life goal, was to have kids and have a family. And so my wife and I are super excited, and it was good at the end of the season to go back home during the off season and be there every day and have a lot of quality time with them.
That's awesome. We're super excited that we got to talk to you today. It's been amazing. Good luck this season. We can't wait to watch you pitch, and thank you for coming on the podcast. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
So that was David Peterson. Next up, we have Tylor Megill for you. Like we said, another great interview. Got to learn about the nickname Big Drip. Just being around these players is always so interesting, because you have an idea of what they're like, and then you get to meet them, and they're almost exactly the same, which is really cool. And I felt that with Tylor Megill. And he's also just another large human who just makes us look like dwarves.
One of the biggest humans I've ever come across in my entire life. Also, when you guys hear him say why his nickname is Big Drip, you're probably going to laugh. So just get ready for that one.
Yeah, get ready for that. So here's Tylor Megill. Hope you guys enjoy. What's up, Mets fans? We're back here with another interview at spring training at Clover Park. We're joined today with Tylor Megill. Tylor, thank you for joining us. We're super excited. How's it feel to be back in Florida getting ready?
Feels great. It's exciting. I've been waiting since, obviously, we finished season, a couple weeks of downtime, and then obviously you're ready to get going and get back here and get it going again.
Of course, the team had an unbelievable offseason, bringing in a lot of talented players. What are your expectations for this team this year?
Obviously, World Series. So, I mean, just, playing each day, winning each day, that's the goal, just win each day and, take it as far as we can, 162 and on.
What about expectations for yourself this season? Anything you're trying to accomplish?
Staying healthy. That's the biggest thing.
Let's go on.
Just being able to make my start every 5th day or whatever I'm doing for pitching and just, being able to just stay healthy a full season. That's the biggest thing for me.
You probably have one of the better nicknames, not only on this team, but then all of Major League Baseball, Big Drip.
Yeah.
Can you tell us where that came from, the origin of it?
Cameron Maben, when I was in AAA, he played with my brother when he was with the Cubs. He was saying, me and my brother are polar opposites from each other. He's very outgoing and whatnot, and me, I'm very just laid back, I guess you could say.
Oh, it's like a drip like that?
Just chill out and, yeah, big drip.
I thought it was going to be something like he had like good fashion.
Not yet. Soon.
Working on that.
Yeah.
You mentioned your brother, Major League pitcher as well. How was the competition between you guys growing up, being, two really good pitchers?
Well, I didn't start pitching until maybe my sophomore year in high school. So before that, I was a catcher.
Okay.
But, competition-wise, we always pushed each other to, be better. And then, obviously, come college and pro ball, it was all about helping each other and, picking each other's brains and just, trying to make ourselves better players overall.
Who's got the nastier stuff right now, then, if you didn't compete that much growing up?
I don't know. We're two totally different pitchers. He does some things better than me, and I do some things better than him. So.
Your family's pretty athletic.
Yeah.
Your sister, your dad, your brother. Who would you say is the best athlete in the family?
My sister. Yeah, definitely. She gets after it, and she's very unreal shape. So.
You kind of came out of nowhere in 2021 when you came to the team during the summer. You only thrown about 40 innings between going from high A to the major leagues. What do you think was the biggest reason for your ability to rise that quickly?
Obviously, results are one thing. You got stuff that's another thing. But during that time, it was kind of like all hands on deck with injuries and whatnot, and just obviously taking the momentum I had and then just going with it, and then obviously I got my opportunity, and then just making the most of that opportunity when you get the chance. So just end of the day, it's just taking what you have in the moment and then just trying to run with it.
You got to start opening day last year.
Yeah.
How was that experience, getting the opening day start?
It's exciting. Not a lot of people, I guess, get to experience that when it comes from obviously like an ace standpoint and a staff, but being able to have that opportunity, it's special. So, it's cool. Hopefully, one day rightfully earn one myself as, that kind of suit.
What was the instant reaction when they told you you were the guy?
I was excited. It's cool. I get to start the first game of the year. It's stuff you kind of dream about. So, being able to do one, it was fun.
Since you've been called up and throughout your major league career, your secondary pitches have really taken a step forward.
Yeah.
What do you think's been the big reason for that change?
Trusting my off-speed stuff and throwing it for strikes. For the most part, boys try to be nasty with it. In reality, you just need to just throw it with the movement over the plate and get them off the fastball. And it's crazy how much from a hitting standpoint, being able to hit in 2021, it was so, I guess eye-opening to how hard hitting is and seeing pitchers throwing hard and how little time you have to react and whatnot. So just being able to throw off speed in the zone for strikes, and then obviously later in counts, try to get them to nibble and whatnot. So.
Yeah.
Talked about that rule change between 2 years ago to last year with the DH becoming universal. There's going to be some more rule changes this year, including the pitch clock. Did you ever deal with the pitch clock in the minor leagues? If so or if not, how do you think it's going to affect the game this
No,
season?
I never got to work with the pitch clock. From what I've seen and heard, it just speeds games up drastically. Like, I don't think there's games over 3 hours, and should there be times where my friends would tell me, like, their game started an hour later than ours, and they finished theirs or shower and they're leaving. We're like in the 7th inning. Like, yeah. So I mean, the clock's definitely going to speed up the time and the pace of the game.
When talking about, you know, guys that you faced in your career thus far, who would you say has been like maybe the hardest guy to go up against on the mound?
Me, I just like throwing to crappy hitters.
Yeah.
So like people that just like foul and spoil your pitchers off. They're not trying to take you deep or anything. They're just trying to like put a good bat on the ball. So I'd say one of those guys are like Gene Segura with the Phillies, same guy, scrappy hitter. Like
he's annoying.
You'll throw a ball in another batter's box and you'll somehow foul it off and just like work the count up. And as a pitcher, you hate batters that work the count up and just spoil a lot of pitches.
Yeah, lucky for you and the Mets, he stayed in the division, so we're still going to get to see him play at times this year. I do remember one game last year where you actually were able to get Gene Segura a few times, and that was in the combined no-hitter last April. What was it like being a part of that? It was only the second time in Mets history that we got to the end of a game with no hits.
Yeah, I mean, that game was pretty nerve-wracking, to say the least. I mean, I didn't really know we had a no-hitter going until maybe the 6th or so, 7th, because obviously you're in the moment, you're not really paying attention to that kind of deal. And then you look at the scoreboard when it's all done, you know, your nerves are going down and whatnot. And yeah, and then you just see it and progressively going deeper into the game. And it's, kind of sensation was wild.
That's odd.
Yeah. It felt that way in the stands too. Like, no one really even noticed until, because remember when you went either 5 or 6 and there was a jam and someone came in and like got out of it somehow. So it was like only like a 1 or 2 run game, and all of a sudden we got out of a jam and it was like, oh my God. Oh, they still don't have any hits. And it just kept parlaying from there. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Outside of baseball, what do you like to do in your free time?
I like to play golf.
Okay.
Some buddies, my dad, and video games.
What video games?
Play some World of Warcraft.
Oh, okay.
Overwatch. Yeah, with my buddies.
You're a PC gamer then.
Yeah, PC.
Wow, all right. That's a real gamer then.
Yeah.
If you weren't a baseball player, what would you be doing?
Probably golf, professional golf. That'd be sick.
Are you that good?
I'm not that good, no, but watching them and how they are able to, when I play, I think it's fun when you hit a good shot. I mean, that's what you come back for, is that sensation of you hitting a good shot and landing on the green, and seeing pros do that.
Have you got a
like
chance?
It's us playing baseball. It's pretty crazy.
Have you got a chance to play with McNeil?
No, I haven't, but I hear he's got a pretty damn good game.
There was a little meme that went viral last year. It was you, Cookie, and Scherzer like around an iPad in the dugout. Kind of made its way around Twitter for a while. What's it like working with such an experienced pitching staff, just these guys who've been around the game so long, have so much success?
Yeah, it's been the blessing, obviously, being in this organization and being able to be up with them in the major leagues, is they have so much experience and so much knowledge, and just being able to talk with them, and obviously them from past experience, you know, and trying to teach me and coach me up on certain situations, like, it goes a long way. So that's like the biggest thing, I think, for us young guys that come and pitch, is like they're very open-minded to allowing to teach us and us to be able to listen and take it in. And obviously in the game, from being taught, you know, you'll start to pick up on those kind of things and, you know, obviously adapt and improvise in the situation.
We're huge fans of Jeremy Hefner on this podcast. We talk about him all the time. What's your relationship like with Hefner, and how's he helped you so far?
Love Hef.
Yeah, we do too.
It's great. I mean, he gives me all the confidence in the world with my stuff. And just from just a coaching standpoint, just obviously pitching and situations in the game, just he understands and he knows what to say, when to say, and I think that's a very big thing with pitchers, is being able to understand the situation and, you know, go about that.
I think last question, probably wrap this up in a little bit. We read you were a big Scooby-Doo fan as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, every morning I'd wake up before school when I was a kid.
Me, literally the exact same thing. Which character in the show did you most identify with, or who's your favorite?
Well, Scooby, that was my nickname as a kid.
I told you. I said you were gonna pick Scooby.
They called me Scooby.
Was that just because you like the show so
On
much?
the show, yeah, Scooby, yeah.
Scooby.
Awesome. Tylor, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and
Yeah.
good luck this season.
Thank you, I appreciate you guys.
All right, so there they are, the interviews, episode number 177 of the Mets Up podcast. They were fantastic. Of course, guys, Amazing Day is coming up this Saturday, March 25th. Make sure to wear your Mets hat, and you will have a chance to win some really cool stuff all around New York City. Make sure you also sign up for the sweepstakes at Mets.com/AmazingDay for your chance to throw the first pitch at a game, as well as get a complete VIP experience. And as guys who maybe haven't had the complete VIP experience, but pretty close to it, I will say, it's pretty awesome to be treated like a VIP. So you guys definitely want to get in on that. Amazing Day coming up. Wear your hats. I think that's pretty much it for this episode, right, James? Anything else to say?
All good. Getting ready for the season.
Let's wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much.
Less than a week away.
Yep, less than a week away. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching to this episode of the Mets Up Podcast. We appreciate you. Follow us on all our social media at Mets Up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The YouTube channel, if you want to see a video version and see how much bigger David Peterson and Tylor Megill are than me and James, go to the New York Mets YouTube channel. You'll be able to find that. Follow James on Twitter at
James_Schiano.
And I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with the C. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Mets Up Podcast. Peace out.